Glad to see all of you here today. Let's wait for a few moments for the rest of our guests to sign in. Okay, time now is 1:01, and we have 27 guests signed in. So what we'll do is I'll start the ball rolling. And thanks for coming on time, everyone. Welcome to this first public event of City Mental Health Alliance Singapore, in short, CMHA. Today's webinar on facing pandemic anxiety is a joint effort between CMHA and Project Green Ribbon. I'm Wing Hong, the Executive Director of CMHA Singapore. How are you feeling today? Are you still adjusting to the new normal of not going on an overseas trip when you are right in the school holiday June? Are you still adjusting to working or studying from home if you are a student? Or are you facing and fighting for livelihood? Some of us might be looking forward to 13th of June. What's going to happen next? No matter what situation we are in, our emotions and mental wellness are being affected. Do you feel anxious, frustrated, grieved, or many a times we say sian, right? That's the Hokkien term to describe boredom, frustration, and weariness. Or are you just fed up with all these restrictions? Today, Dr. Jasmine will share some practical tips to help us better handle our emotions and mental wellness so that we can progress from strive to thrive. But before that, here are some logistic instructions for this webinar. We have the chat button open up, and you can key in your questions along the way. Your questions will be seen by the moderator. So address it to the panelist, and we will consolidate the questions before posting it. Your name will not be displayed, and therefore feel free to ask questions. This event will be recorded and it will be made available to view again after this event. Before I bring on the speaker, Dr. Jasmine, let me first introduce CMHA. Next slide, please. Yes. CMHA is a non-profit organization. Our vision is to create mentally healthy workplaces. And we believe that the workplace has an opportunity and responsibility to protect, support, and create positive mental health for the people so that they can thrive. We are privileged to have 10 companies listed on this page as our founding members, and they are committed to this important cause. Next, I would like to invite Ling, the founder of Project Green Ribbon, to introduce PGR. Ling, please.
Hi, thanks, Wing Hong. Hi, everyone. I'm Ling, the co-founder for Project Green Ribbon. Project Green Ribbon is a ground-up initiative founded by the community for the community. What do we mean by that is that we're persons in recovery both the co-founders, so myself and my co-founder, and we have been in the mental health, space for at least 10 years. Currently, we're a youth-led organization dedicated to support, those struggling with their mental health. I prefer to actually name to explain mental health in a form of people struggling with life, and specifically to allow the unheard voices to be actually heard. And the long-term vision and goal is to empower every generation towards mental resilience. And thus, holding such an important webinar like today is so vital for our community space. And yeah, so our target audience is actually corporate, community, and basically the unheard. And with us, we have partners in the industry, Caregiver Alliance, Limitless, Resilience Collective, Care Corner, and many other social offices. Yeah. So with that being said, Dr. Jasmine is actually one of our board of advisors, and we are very privileged to have her hold this talk and share more with us about what this when we are facing all these anxieties today. So Dr. Jasmine, over to you, please.
Hi, thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Weng Hong. So I am about to ask the same questions that Weng Hong just asked. Before we start, I want to ask, how are you feeling? And I want to know your answer. I want you to answer in less than 3 words. Okay, I want you to remember your answer. I'm not going to talk about this right now, but I want you to write down, or remember, how are you feeling? These my questions, and give me your answer. All right. So then we are talking about this anxiety. So we are not talking about anxiety disorder. It's just a anxious feeling that we feel. So what is the difference between this anxiety feeling and this pandemic anxiety that we are actually having, every now and then, some are even constant. So the normal anxious feeling is like, I would say it's like a overprotective alarm system. They constantly, or sometimes they really blast us with worries, with assumptions, with a lot of what if and worst case scenarios, and even negative beliefs, right? And this pandemic anxiety is different from those anxieties. So this pandemic anxiety is a feeling of not just uncertainty, okay? And the assumptions that we used to have, and those what if, those negative beliefs, right? It seems real right now. They are real, right? People dying, the virus spread, and then it's out of control. It's all real. So it's not just the feeling of uncertainty. And on top of that, we have isolation, and we have financial stress, and then we grieve of loss of people, of our routines, and we start to worry about the people who we care and know work on the front lines, and then we change from working, from outside to home, and sometimes just simply, the feeling of scared about the future. We used to worry about the future. Now we are scared of the future. So there's a difference between this anxiety that we so-called know of to this pandemic anxiety. So come back to my questions. How are you feeling? So I'm not asking how are you doing. So if you say it's fine, I'm good, it's bad, it's lousy, overwhelming. So I'm asking how are you feeling? I want to know, is there anyone? Answer, I am feeling safe. So let me know later, right? So feeling safe is so very important, but I never actually get any answer when I ask, how are you feeling? I never get anyone say, oh, I feel safe. I'm safe. No. So safe is so important because feeling unsafe makes us anxious, right? So this sense of security gives meaning to our life. So feeling safe to us means stable and in a good place. So whenever you ask, how am I feeling? I hope you look for the word safe. All right. Okay, then let's move on. The next thing, which is my next questions, I want to know what's on your mind. Okay, you can tell me, you can say anything. you know, or you can say nothing on your mind, many things, or you can specifically say there's really something. I believe we usually have more than one thing on our mind. And I will want you to remember these questions and your answer, and I will come back to you later. All right. So this uncertainty, okay, we know that, like we Google, we are all very experienced in, you know, this anxious feeling. Like no one actually said, oh, it's so unfamiliar, I never experienced before. It sometimes it seems like just nervous, but then it escalates, so you become worried, you know, and on top of that, then you feel really stressed about it, right? Especially when we don't know what's coming next, which we are where we are right now. So during the past 1 year, more than 1 year, many people, they ask me how to cope with uncertainty, because we all believe that this anxious feeling, you know, this uneasiness, this heaviness on our chest is all because of this uncertainty. You are right? You are right. And if you ask me now how to deal or cope with uncertainty, my answer is you can't. You just go through it. Why I say so? Because this uncertainty, again, is unlike the other uncertainties that we used to know. Like, you know, you want to move to somewhere else, so you are uncertain whether you can survive there, or it's not about like changing job, it's not about like divorce, it's not even about like sickness, right? So when all these unpleasant or the big decisions are going to happen, we do have uncertainty, but at least we heard about it, right? It's something like, you know, there is a history, but this kind of uncertainty during this pandemic, this is something is totally new to you, to me, to anyone. You know, it's not just new, it's unknown and it's unpredictable. So this is where you ask how to cope with uncertainty. You can't. You have to just go through with it. Which I say, we're already there. Anyone give you any option that do you want to go through this uncertainty, this pandemic? You know, you don't have an option. You don't have an option, right? You just go through with it, right? Think again, all of us right now listening, you know, sitting here, we survived before, and we are doing it again and again and again. Is there any moment you ask yourself, how am I going to cope with this, or how am I going to deal with the tomorrow uncertainty? You don't even, because you know there's no answer, right? So if you really want to ask yourself a questions, because sometimes we're anxious, right? We want to like, oh, have some self-talk, you know. So the only positive and constructive questions that you can ask is, how exactly did I do that? That would be more helpful than asking how to deal with, how I'm going to face uncertainty, because that will keep going round and round like a, you know, like a dog chasing his own tails. So if you want to ask, I think this is a very important question and a good question to help you feel grounded. Like, how exactly did I do that? Right? So for example, let me give you an example that how do you go through it, like you don't even think. So I just thought of this metaphor last night, but I find it just so relevant. So imagine you are rushing to work. Okay, you had to, you know, you're rushing to work, which is before pandemic, you really go to work. So you rush into a lift, you know, but full of people. So you are going to 29th floor. So the lift is full of people, and then you're all the way back, and then you are rushing. Okay, so you have to squeeze yourself in, and then you just have to bear it. And then suddenly, you know, at some point, maybe at like floor 11, somebody farted. Do you ask yourself, how am I going to breathe? You don't, right? You find a way to go through it. You don't say, oh, I'm going to die. It's so smelly. I don't know how to breathe. You don't literally pause and question. You either cover your nose, or you try to, you know, get your tissue paper out, or you try to hold your breath. You do whatever to just go through it. So it's something that you know that is beyond your control. It's something that like is unexpected, you know, and even though you know food, right? What can you do? This in the air, right? So this is where if you ask how to I think there is a waste of lots of energy to literally try to find the answer of how to. So it is like, how exactly did I go through that? How exactly did I do that? And doing it. So do not look at anxiety as a problem that you have to find a solution, because this is not a problem. Okay, and there is no solution. We just have to, you just have to learn how to first maybe live with it. You have to, right? It's just like breathing. You don't ask yourself that when the room is so stuffy, you don't say, how, I can't breathe, how am I going to breathe, right? So you just find a way to survive as long as you can. Okay, so then even though we know that we survived before, and this is the second wave in Singapore, and why many feel actually heavier and even like harder, you know, to actually go through it. So this time it's not just the threats, right? It's not just that, oh, it's a deadly viral, you know, oh, it's in fact, you know, it's contagious and it is scary. This time we are not just having the threats, we also disappointment, right? Disappointment, because we actually, when we go through the first one, we become so hopeful, right? And it happened again. And then right now we say that, what about, you know, vaccines is there? People took their vaccine and then it still happened. It still gets so bad. So there is a lot of disappointment going on top of the threats. This is why we feel heavier this time round. But we need to know that we have to actually change the way we see, instead of keep going round and or digging deeper and deeper to find it's like it getting hopeless, more hopelessness, you know, than before. It's not helpful. Like I say, how exactly did I do that is one of the questions that you ask to remind yourself you did that, you know. So maybe you, if you find out how you exactly, you know, overcome the last one, you will be a little bit more assured, you know, or you can affirm yourself, you feel safer. Okay, so another line that I want to change it. People say that, oh, we are all struggling, you know, we are all, you know, suffering, and we are all, you know, in fear. Maybe change the way we speak. I would say, I am not struggling. I am conquering. We are overcoming, right? So it might seem like it's just a line, but it is a very minor gesture that you do to yourself to make yourself feel like this is a self-assurance that you can give to yourself, because otherwise you will say, what else can I do? You can do this. Like you say, I am conquering. It's difficult. We're not denying that it is like, don't think about it. It is not difficult. It is not even, you know, like the end yet. No, we are not denying the reality. We are speaking. We are knowing that what is happening is that, yes, we are in the difficult decision, right? We are in this difficult situation, so we are conquering. Because every day you get up, you're conquering. Every day you try to do what you can. Every day, every single day, every moment. So what are you doing? You're not struggling. You are conquering. You are overcoming. So maybe when you update your FB status or your social media status, right? The current status is what you say, exhausted but evolving. Isn't it? Does it sound a little bit safer? If it's helpful, claim it. Okay, feel free to claim it. So on top of this anxiety, so before we feel really overwhelmed, right? There's always a I call it the symptoms of pandemic fatigue, right? So you exhausted, right? You irritate, you know, irritability, you have the impatience, you are moody, you know, you lashing out so easily. Sometimes you even think that you are depressed, you feel so low most of the time, and you have brain fog. So all these are because of this pandemic anxiety causing the tiredness. And then where the tiredness come from mostly is, I will blame the social media, right? So looking at, you know, you might think that every time when you look at the news and you look at the Instagram, you scroll, you didn't know that our mind, our brain is constantly have to filter. Is it fake news? Is it right news? Is it updated? Is it 2 days ago? Is it 3 days ago? The number, Do you know that every time you do that, your brain's actually putting all this energy to help us to filter, and then hours, right? So if you literally like use your phone for 10 hours a day, scrolling, checking, analyzing, imagine the tiredness that causes to the mind. So this is where the pandemic fatigue, right, happens during this period of time. Is it something that maybe we can avoid? Maybe we can avoid. So do not set time for yourself. Okay, set time for yourself for time to do your getting information, and also follow only the few reliable sources, so that you don't like mass. You bring it everything, and then you have to filter and say, oh, this one is a fake news. This one, it was so old ago. This one, it was an old picture. This is old news. So all this because unnecessary energy. Okay, so these are the things we can take that away to make us feel less tired in the mind. All right, and another one is about the worry and stress and anxiety, right? So, and people will always use these three words like interchangeable. Actually, they are not the same thing. Okay, so why do we need to know their difference? So that when you feeling something, you know that how and what specifically you are feeling. Otherwise, you will be like the social media. You have to like justify, analyze, again, like from the outer source and the inner source, everything you go do so much work, which is like imagine the load that your brain is actually carrying, okay, and working for you. So let me tell you the difference. Worry is a mental process. Okay, so worry means like it's repetitive, it's nagging thoughts, So usually you focus and you target on something, so you worry about something. So stress is a biological reaction, okay, which is it's actually will change. It's a response, like a body response to like a physically, mentally, and emotion. So stress is a biological reaction. So worry is a mental process. Anxiety involves the body and the mind together. Okay, so that's why it can be serious enough to qualify as a mental disorder. So this is where we have to be careful that do not, put in our worry and our stress, and we do not know are they together or are they separate things, and is it necessary, and you don't want to make this anxious feeling escalate and into a mental disorder state. All right. So, and when you come to anxiety, they also have two types of anxiety they will want to talk about. One is just a symptom of stress and worry, and they can be very different. Okay, so stress and worry. The other one, which we mental health professional will classify as a disorder. All right. So remember, anxiety has got two BFF. With anxiety, you better know who is his BFF. So his BFF is fear and panic. All right. So these two best friends of anxiety. So fear will disguise as like it's a what if. Okay, what if cause fear. So panic is unprepared. Right. So when you have fear, whereby you have your what if story, so look into it. So if you don't look into it, then the fear will bring in panic, telling that so you are not up to it. You're going to be doomed because you do not know what to do. You are unprepared. So when you're feeling anxious, look at the two best friends of this anxiety, fear, and your panic. So am I unprepared? What do I need to prepare? What is it to prepare? Right? Based on your what if story. Otherwise, you will keep going round and round, and you will escalate it into anxiety disorder. Okay, so I always think that the one small thing to actually live in anxious situation is to have a routine. I call it rituals. So there are two things that we need to learn how to manage. The first is manage your environment. Okay, this is why routine is very important, establish your day-to-day rituals. So you need to have, like, we literally during this time, if you're feeling like, you know, that pandemic anxiety is getting into you, so you need to check, do I have a timetable? Do I have my morning rituals? Do I have my noon rituals? Do I have my night rituals, right? Do I have my weekend? Do I have my weekday? So everything, do whatever you can to make sure that you have something that so-called you know that you can do and you are doing it. We call it in control, right? We all know that uncertainty is feeling out of control. So to feel in control, the least you can do is create your own routines, your own rituals. The second one is manage your attitude. Right? The attitude is to live by hope, not by fear. Right? So your what if and your unprepared. I mean, the BF is the example of live by fear. So hope is so important because it's one of the emotions that keep us going. This is why we used to be so hopeful during the first wave, and then we become disappointed. So many people there, because of that disappointment, they say that I do not dare to hope again. So that is a big no-no, right? So I want you to look at yourself, look at what is in there, say what else can you be hopeful for. Try to create as many as you can, even the smallest, all right? And then the next thing about managing attitude is rest. We all know that adequate sleep is important. And the last one is called relax. Relax means downtime, okay? Rest and relax, they are different story. So when you're resting, doesn't mean that you are relaxing. All right, so when you have sleep, sleep is sleep, relax is downtime. Downtime is downtime. They are two different things. So doing these minor things in your day-to-day, everyday things, right? So it will help you to feel grounded, that you know that you feel somehow in control. So the in control will bring the sense of safetyness, security, that you, when you ask yourself, how am I feeling? And you look at your routine, you look at what is within, your ability, you will feel that you're feeling you're in a good place, at least in your own zone, right? So the feeling of control is the most important, but we say, what can we control? We all know that. So when you come into this issue or the questions of control, ask yourself these three questions. I love questions because from questions, you know yourself, you know what you're thinking, right? So these questions, three questions: what can I control now, later, or never? Okay, so what can I control now? What can I control later? What can I never control? So ask yourself these questions when you feel really, really anxious. When you feel like, oh, I need to control something, I need to do something. Why is it so out of control? Everything is all over places. So press a pause button. Remember these three questions. What can I control now, later, and never? So I always, I had this things I do when I am feeling, when I overthink. I don't think that, I will use the word I overthink. So when you are overthinking, write it down. Do not just store it in your head and then going round and round. No, become like an abstract painting, So when you are overthinking, write. When you are underthinking, listen. So very good tricks. I hope you try it one day. So since I say control is the key, and then many people say that, oh, I'm not very good in self-control. Oh, I just so easily distracted. Right? I understand. So now I want to take 1 minute of you, and I want to let you know that how to actually what's it called? Build self-control. How do you build the core of able to make decision or make choices, right? So somebody say, oh, when I decided to lose some weight, but when I see food, I just can't control, I just eat, but when you want to change certain habit, you want to win off certain bad habit, you say, no, it's too big a temptations and I can't help it. So now let me show you why and how, right? You can actually build that control muscle up, self-control muscle, okay? Not control others people's kind of muscle, okay? So like we're going to the gym. So I need 1 minute of breathing exercise. I want you to do with me. I will set a timer, okay? If you choose, you can choose not to do it. So if you choose not to do it, even though I can't see you, you can choose not to do it. So if those who not wanting to do it, you can fold your arms and say 5 times, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that, But I think it's easier to just follow, right? Okay? So I want you to find the most comfortable pose that you are in, you don't need to lie down, just sit down, but I need to close the eyes. I will set a timer, and I want you to focus on your breathing. I don't want you to count, okay? I don't need you to come up with some image, in your head, nothing. Do nothing. You just have to focus on your breathing. You can pay attention to your heartbeat, the stomach, the noise that you can, you can hear. Okay, so anytime when, you may get distracted, we all do, okay? Especially those people who never practice, meditation or whatever. So if you get distracted, just come back to the breathing, okay? Every time you get distracted, oh, this is so stupid. And then you come back to your breathing and say, God, I cannot do it. Come back to your breathing. Or you think, oh my God, I'm so hungry. You come back to your breathing, okay? Anytime when you get distracted, just come back to the breathing for 1 minute. Right, so let me set my timer. Okay, I'll be ready. So I want you to close your eyes and then we start now. Okay. Right, thank you. So, everyone back? Okay. Okay, my question is, how many times you come back to your breathing, like you come back to your breath? I'm sure there'll be more than one time, right? You have to you drifted and then you come back. Sometimes in my talk they will say, oh, countless. I say good, I say, oh, I think it's more than 10 times. I say good in the 1 minute. Okay, I want you to know that this 1 minute breathing exercise, mindful exercise, is different from meditation. Okay, and then many people they say, oh, I tried this, it doesn't work. I say, work on what? What do you think this mindful breathing is about? What do you think this 1 minute meditation is about? You say, oh, to feel relaxed. I say, no, that is not the point. Okay, so this is where you also know that people around you will say, oh, I tried it, but it doesn't work. It doesn't help me relax. You're right, because this mindful breathing is not supposed to, the whole goal is not to help you to relax. 1 minute is not going to help you relax. This is why people gave up. They don't do it because they don't understand the whole exercise. They don't understand the purpose of doing this exercise. It's just like you're going to the gym, you're trying to lift the weight, but you thought that will help you going to toilet easier, but it is not, right? It's training your whatever, because I'm not a gym person, but I don't know what it's do for you too when you lift the weight. Okay, let me come back to this. So the times that you come back to your breathing, you're right. So you in and out. That is a good sign. Okay. So listen, why this exercise is important and how it helps us to actually develop the muscle of self-control. Every time when you bring yourself back to this breathing exercise, you are doing something. It's a behavior. I call it attending. Every time you drifted, you bring yourself back. You give back the attention. You drifted. You know, you are, if during that 1 minute you drifted and you come back 10 times or 5 times, that means you are laying down the brain tissue on the behavior of paying attention, attending. So if you keep doing the exercise, the brain tissue will have the strong muscle of when you, if you're on diet and you have sweet tooth, and I serve you a big tub of ice cream, you say, oh, I love it. But no, you'll find it easier to say no, because you bring back to your goal. You bring you back to, like, you can know that what you want, and you don't want it easier. So this 1 minute of breathing exercise, every time you go away and you come back, is a behavior. It's a behavior of wander off and coming back, right? So the wander off seems like it's a distraction. So coming back is a choice. So every time you come back, you laying down your brain tissue on learning how to make the choice that you want, how to make that decision, how to stick to the goal, how to pay attention. So you keep doing that, eventually you'll find it saying yes or no, or even maybe it's a lot easier, you know? So you're not worried about temptation, because you know that if you are tempted, you can say, I know it's tempting, but not for today, right? So do you know that there is a, have you seen this product that these cookie tubs, they have a timer or have a password or whatever, so to stop people from eating too much of the cookie. You think that help? No, because that's not helping you to laying the brain tissue on learning how to say no. So you put it like every 2 days, then the tub will automatically open and then you can eat. So at least you can not eating for 2 days. But what happens when the tub really open after 2 days? You eat more than that, more than you actually want to. And it doesn't help you in any part or any way of like doing having self-control. Okay, so this is a exercise of changing the behavior, okay, which I call attending, whereby we're laying down the brain tissue to boost our self-control. Use it on yourself, on your children, you know. So it's 1 minute. So eventually you know that the 1 minute seems easy, you add 1 minute, 15 seconds. Okay, and after 1 minute, 15 seconds, you say that you are so good at paying attention, grounding yourself, you put 1 minute and 30 seconds. So you keep doing it. So as you grow and you check, you will pay attention to your self-control, you will be so much in control. So the in control will give us self-trust. And the self-trust will not give us the unsafe feeling. Right? Doubt is because we don't trust ourselves. So when we don't trust ourselves, we always think that we're unprepared. When we're unprepared, we panic, right? When we panic, then we lost it. So it's just a 1 minute exercise, and you try it. And then the more you drifted and you come back, the better it is. Like I say, you know, the worse, you know, if you say you're bad at meditation, it's a good thing. is a good thing. All right. So I think it's about time. All right. Are we in the Q&A sessions right now?
Yes, there's one
Okay.
question posted.
Okay. Where's the questions?
What should I do if I panic? That was the first question.
So how do you know you are panicked, first of all? So what should I do if I'm panicked? So if you're talking about panic attack, right? Or we say panic, I would think it's panic attack. So many people say, oh, when I'm panicked, I tell myself, don't panic. I say this is the worst thing to say to yourself. Okay. So when you panic, you know that it's a feeling, it comes from inside. So when you keep saying don't, you deny the feeling, and the feeling will stay longer and become harder because they want you to know that something is not right. So when you are panicked, you first, I would say, you acknowledge that I am panicked. Right? So if you still can hold yourself, in arm, you can say, what am I panic about? If you say, I don't know, then good. Leave it there. Then you just wait. That's it. That's it. So this is where when my patients say, like every time I have panic attack, I'm so scared that I feel like I almost die. So then I ask them, so far, how many panic attacks have you survived? 100%. Right? So if you know that you're panic, do not push it away. Okay? The harder you push, the harder it's come back. So when you're feeling panic, you're feeling anxious, even you're feeling angry, even feeling sad, don't push it away. Don't deny yourself. Okay? You just first acknowledge. And then, like I say, sit with it or be with it. And then just wait. If you say, I don't know how to sit with it, I say, just wait. Just wait. Unless you really in danger. Otherwise, you just wait. Right? And any other questions?
There's a chat button on the bottom right corner. So if you have a question, you can just type into it and send off, and we'll pick it up.
Right. Since there's no question, then I can just carry on. Like say why we do not deny the feeling. So for example, when you're very angry, right? So you tell your friend, you say, hey, I'm angry, because of the taxi driver drives so fast or whatever. And your friend say, come on, don't be angry. So your friend try to calm you down. So when someone say don't be angry, do you actually feel calmer? No, you feel angrier. Because you will try to want to justify your anger. It's like someone don't understand why you should be angry. So, and they say, don't be sad, don't be angry. So you actually will amplify it so that people can see it. You want that understanding, you want that acceptance, you want that the person to actually acknowledge it. But when someone say don't be angry, you get angry, and no one say don't be angry. Say okay, fine. You don't. Have you ever? The same thing as when you panic. If you tell yourself don't panic, it's the same thing. You deny yourself. You deny your emotions. So that self, the inner, the panic is getting upset. Like why don't you just see it? So why you deny it? So this is where the first no is don't deny. Don't deny whatever comes from you because it's yours. It's a feelings. If you don't understand why they are here, what is happening, what is it about, you just sit with it with so-called wait, right? So is there any other questions?
Yes, the second question is, I have trouble sleeping at night due to anxious thoughts. How can I have better rest?
Okay, so you have sleeping issue. If it's prolonged, I will suggest that you see a doctor, right? So otherwise, you can try the breathing exercise to help you to have more self-control of your thought. Again, anxious thought, like I say, the second questions that I asked, right? Remember, what's on your mind? So it's a very good question to ask ourselves, right? What's on my mind? Is it nothing, which is like, this is not very right. Okay, many things. Okay, why? What are there? Right. So find out what's in there. Like I say, if you have many things on your mind, which I will categorize under overthinking. So what did I just say just now? That when you overthink, you write it down. Okay, so anxious thought is very vague, right? Like a big cloud. You need to write down what are these anxious thoughts that's bothering you and stop and actually stop you from resting. Otherwise, see doctors. Any other questions?
The next one, we are talking about stronger feelings, reactions like anxiety, sadness, anger. What about a lack of feeling, languishing? The feeling of, well, nothing can do, it will just go on and on. How can we respond to these internal perceptions?
You mean how to ourselves, or someone is doing that? Someone is feeling that way, or you are feeling this way?
So if I'm feeling that way, how do we respond to this internal perception and overcome it?
Okay, so if you are feeling this way, then you are having feeling. Am I right? So you actually having too much feeling that you do not want to feel is a choice. It's a choice, right? If you really do not feel anything, you will not feel this as well. Say it again to yourself, right? So when you choose not to feel, so it's a choice. It's a choice, right? Then the next question is, what makes you blocking them? So it can be too painful, too overwhelming, right? Too much, and again, write it down. Any more questions?
Next question, what is the best way to respond to an angry person?
Angry at you or angry at, the question is, wow, you're testing my IQ or something. Okay, and what again? Sorry, what's the question again?
What is the best way to respond to an angry person? I think
Okay.
it relates to earlier on, you said, it's no point telling the person don't be angry, right? So if we don't
Okay,
tell
if
them
the
don't be
person is
angry, how
not
do we
angry
respond?
okay, right. If the person is not angry at you, you just mind your own business. If the person is angry at you, okay, you can first acknowledge, same thing like, I can tell you are angry. Maybe you should be. I don't understand why you're angry, but I can see that you are angry. So acknowledge verbally. So usually if you try it, so when someone is very angry at you and you know it's towards you, okay, otherwise then maybe you're asking for trouble. So if really towards you, then you say that I don't know what have I done or what's going on, right? But I can see you are very angry. So when you acknowledge, the person will not escalate, but it might not de-escalate, but at least she stay or he stay and able to open up, right? So acknowledge the person's feeling. As long as you don't say, don't be so angry. You shouldn't be angry. What's the point of getting angry? All these are no. All these are denying. Okay, so just say that, I can tell you're angry. Maybe you should be. Maybe you have a reason to be angry. So this is called acknowledge. All right, so next questions.
Next question is, what happens when we sit with the panic? Wouldn't the panic feeling just get worse? So yeah.
Okay, when it comes to the point of panic, right, usually it's worse already. It can go more than that. All right. This is why it gives us a heart feel heart attack, cold sweat, shivers. Some even will feel like they're going to die, you know, like what is worse than that already. So you will not go you will not get worse and more than that, but you will just, it depends on duration. It's a duration. Okay. So the duration, the how long does sensation or this feeling stay, it depends on how much you fight. You fight it. This is why I say you sit and then you wait. It will still happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'll say it will be okay. No, it will eventually shorten, you know, the attack. Okay. Any more questions?
Next question, how do I prevent caregiver burnout?
How do I present?
Prevent.
Oh, prevent. All right. As we call ourselves caregiver, right? There is not anything that you can prevent yourself from burnout, but you just have to manage when you are close or when you are aware. It's awareness. Okay, you can say that, oh, I care this much, right? Because like if you are caregiver for your father or for the child, for you know your spouse, or you know, you cannot actually, like, there's no measurement on caring, isn't it? You can say I will care 20% to this person and 80% for my self-care. How do you actually do that? No. So it's awareness. Awareness, when you are aware that you are actually close to burnout, first of all, you need to know the symptoms of burnout, right? So when you are getting close, or you know that you're moving towards the directions, what you need to do, that once you're awareness, you will slow down, right? So when you slow down, you need to know that, do you have support system? Do you have people around you that you can actually ask for help for temporarily, right? And you need to know that what kind of support do you need? What kind of support do you need? Should you actually getting weaker, right? So there is another questions that we need to put in our list is, what do I need? Okay, and you must have answer. Otherwise, even though you have a lot of supporter coming pouring their support, but it's not what you need, it doesn't make sense, isn't it? Right? So awareness and know what you need, and do you have that? So this is how you make your caregiver life more sustainable, instead of like looking at prevention. So this is the basic thing you can do. Right.
So on a follow-up on that question, as caregiver, where can I go to get support?
Depending on what kind of support. Financial support, you go to the bank, you know. I don't know what you know. We all have like you need to have a mental support, you know, physical support, financial support. Yeah, so you write down. So what do I need? What kind of support do I need? Right. So based on the support that you clearly written down, then you will be able to find them. Otherwise, you only keep looking at the word support. Is so huge, like a whole sky. You feel lost in there, and then you say that nothing I can do. Okay, try not to put yourself in the space. Bring your cursor down, draw a circle, sit in the center, and then look at what do you need.
Right. Thanks. Just to add on, later part before we end off this session, we'll have a page whereby we have email addresses. So if some of these things that may not be answered because of time constraint, or you need to get support, and you are able to narrow down which area of support, do write to us so that we can come back to you with that specific helpline or the source of support that can strengthen your journey. Right. So moving along, the next question, the pandemic news coverage scares me, but I want to stay informed. How do we find the balance?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier on, so you follow a few limited, like you follow the source that reliable. All right, so then you only go with that, like MOH, you know, Singapore or World Health, you know, World Health or Singapore MOH. Like you just follow these two links, I think that is good enough. But people want to scroll and scroll and scroll that. will seriously cause anxiousness. Okay, so limit your um, uh, um, social media's intake, right? So this is where another thing we called it FOMO, fear of missing out. So we thought the more the merrier. No, all right. So declutter your the tweet or whatever account that you're following. So try to declutter them and keep have a good like a therapist account that you follow that always give you some tips and some like positivity vibes or whatever account, give you some motivations and encouragement, and then follow the news and only for 1-2 sources. So I think that is good enough. So do not go into the FOMO, fear of missing out, and then you gather so much. Like I say, you actually make your mind help you to analyze, and then the sorting it out. It actually drains your mental energy. So that actually causes anxiety.
Thank you. Is there any more questions? No, no more. Okay. So Dr. Jasmine.
Yep.
Your parting words to our guests today, is there something that you want them to take away?
Okay, so my parting words, I always say that you heard about the word being vulnerable, right? So many will think that how do you be vulnerable, right? So when you have self-doubt, when you are trying to do something and then the anxiety come in, always give you what if. So like I say, if you have the thought that scared you, right? Or about like going out to do the groceries, and going to work, have to take a train, whatever, right? So being vulnerable where people understand that show up anyway, right? Show up anyway, how do you apply it? So when you say you are going to do something, and then your anxiety thought will kind of say that, are you sure? What if, right? What if the negative thoughts? So showing up means you talk back to your negative self-thought. You tell them, okay, I know that, I got it, but I'm doing it anyway. So this is called being vulnerable, showing up. You show up for yourself by saying to yourself, I'm doing it anyway, right? People say, are you sure you want to go to the supermarket and top up the, like the fridge or whatever, what if, like someone there and then got the virus when they pass to you, but as long as you know that you are putting on mask, you clean your hand, you sanitize yourself after you come back, you change your clothes. So when the self-doubt come and haunt you, and you just have to give him this answer, I'm doing it anyway. So this is called showing up for yourself.
Thanks, Dr. Jasmine, for your generous sharing. Personally, I actually have learned that the breathing exercise is to take back control, right? Every time you get distracted coming back, sometimes you just bash yourself out. How come I can't even concentrate 1 minute, right? But the fact that you are coming back and being able to get back in control actually is building up the muscle, and that's
Yes.
something that we need to practice a bit more. And as the muscle grows stronger, then we can be a bit more stronger managing emotions, managing certain habits that we might want to get away with. And of course, your parting words of being vulnerable, show up anyway. It's like us approaching this webinar. We were all panicking, right? All anxious, more anxious than this pandemic, but we show up anyway. And now we are towards the end of the webinar. I'd like to thank the speaker, Dr. Jasmine, for your time. I'd like to thank the guests who have spent the last 60 minutes with us on this topic. I hope there are a few handles that we have shared that you can find useful. Lawrence, can you put up the next slide, please? The last one. Yes. So this is the email addresses that you can write to us. Some of you are asking, where do I get further support? Do feel free to write to us on your situation, your condition. We will gladly help to connect you with the right party. And we have come to the end of today's webinar. Really thank you for your time spending with us. I wish you a happy rest of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.